Hello and welcome to the video. Let's bring the, there we go, you can see the car now. Welcome to the video, everybody. Summer is upon us. It's getting nicer, the weather's getting nicer, which is good because I hate drive. I watched a GT when Steph ABTV, good friend of mine, I rewatched his old video from this time last year when he got given a GT4 from Porsche Reading to drive around in, and he collected it in January to do his video, and it was cold, icy, rainy, wet. He had his coat on. It looked horrible. And kind of when you're in summer or in spring, you forget how cold and horrible winter can be, and I'm really not looking forward to that. So I'm trying to, appreciate the weather that we currently got right now, because give it 6 months, this is going to be on Cup 2s as well. It's just not going to be as fun. I mean, I'm interested to see what the grip levels are going to be like with a mid-engined sports car, what they're going to be like in winter. I've got a few friends who've got GT4s, they're running Cup 2s, they ran Cup 2s over the winter, said it was perfectly fine, so I'm interested to see what that's like, but hey, I could do a video on that. Anyway, long introduction. Today I'm going to be talking about why I ended up buying a GT4, Porsche 718 GT4, instead of the new Lotus Emira. So if you're a follower of the channel, you would have seen that I did a lot of Lotus Emira videos when I still had my M2 competition, and I talked about what I was going to replace my M2 with. I said I wanted a mid-engine kind of two-seater sports car. I did a lot of Emira videos, and I ended up going and buying this. So I just kind of want to address that, give my 5 reasons, and just kind of give you my thinking behind why I ended up with this car, because I think you will agree with me after I give my reasons. So let's dive in. Point number 1, why did I buy a 718 GT4? It was luggage room, storage space. A GT4 is based on the Cayman, right? And so a Cayman, even like a base Cayman, a Cayman T or a Cayman S, they're supposed to be cars that you can daily drive day to day and be your own single one car garage almost, right? And because it's a mid-engine layout, you have a frunk and you have a boot, or a fruit if you want to call it in the UK. But essentially I have storage at the front, which is, let's have a look, let's open it and show you. Very, very deep. There's loads of stuff in here, but it does go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, it's very deep. I've seen Matt Watson sit inside it, so I've got a lot of storage here at the front of the car. I can put a suitcase in there if I want to go traveling. And then also at the back, I have storage at the back as well. So again, we can open the back. It was very clean, this car, but it rained the other day and now it's all dirty. But again, this is the engine. And I've got all this boot space. We've got the old license plates from the car, but now we've got the new ones. But yeah, I've got storage space here at the back. So I've got 2 boots. So that, for me, is perfect. I can put shopping at the front, I can put shopping at the back. There's lots of storage space. I can, if I don't have a passenger with me, I can stick a lot of stuff in the passenger footwell. And the problem with the Lotus Emira is the Lotus guys didn't make use of the frunk. For some reason, I know why they've done it. They basically have said that the front of the car has been used for a lot of aero purposes, and a lot of air is being channeled from the front of the car upwards, and they've kind of got these little vents at the front, and so they've had to use the front of the car for aero purposes. So in an Emira, all you've got for luggage storage is at the back. And as I've been to the Lotus Emira Roadshow, and I looked at the boot of the car on the Emira, and it was tiny. I mean, granted, there were batteries in that car, so I couldn't actually see how deep it could go. But for me, this is my only car. I don't have an SUV. I don't have a crappy runaround or anything like that. This is my only car. It needs to be able to store everything that I need to on a day-to-day basis. And so if the Emira was my only car, to rely on just the boot, it's too much. I just know that I would come to a situation where I would need to put a luggage in or a suitcase in somewhere, and it wouldn't fit in the back, and I would be screwed. And so storage is the reason why I went with a GT4. Point number 2, this is actually kind of to do with 1, this, and 2, this, the engine that you can't see. I wanted, now we know electric cars are coming, they're coming fast, and so I wanted to, my next car from the M2, I wanted it to be a purist car, right? A car that I can properly enjoy, something that I know is probably a dying breed and will eventually disappear. And so I wanted my next car to be a manual, which both this and the Emira offer, but also the Emira is a supercharged engine, and having, you know, owned an M140i and an M2, which are both turbocharged, I wanted to experience a car that was naturally aspirated for once. I wanted to feel, you know, I'm not that old, so my whole life has always kind of, turbocharged cars were already out by the time I could learn to drive, and so I wanted to experience cars that were naturally aspirated and see what they feel like when all the power is at the top end. So that's why I ended up with a 718 GT4. Third point, GT Porsche is GT Porsche. We've got the suspension from the GT3. This GT4 is, we know how reputable and how good GT Porsche is, and so I just couldn't turn down the offer of being able to own a GT Porsche. Now that I've owned this car, I finally understand the cult, the following that Porsche have, the quality of the materials inside, the way it drives, the driving experience. Porsche, it's honestly just a different gravy. And this is a bold statement, but I don't think I will ever go back to anything else other than Porsche. Okay, maybe if I need an SUV, I might get something like an X5 or something like that when I've got kids and a dog, whatever. But I can see myself owning a 911 one day. I don't know what the new 718 GT4 is going to be like, if it's electric, etc, etc. But say they were going to continue making ICE cars forever, I would buy the next GT4. I would just continue buying GT cars because they're absolutely fantastic. They're just different gravy. And so I just couldn't not pass up the opportunity to own a GT4 versus a brand new Lotus model, which we have no idea what it's actually going to be like. We've seen a few reviews from Henry Catchpole, we've seen a few people driving them, but we haven't actually seen the final product on the road yet. And I didn't want to buy a car that I had no idea what was actually going to be like. This is GT Porsche, it's trial and tested, we know it's good, and it hasn't disappointed at all. And then also Lotus have that, they have that, you know, renowned reliability issue, kind of trim pieces falling apart, etc, etc. With Porsche, you know, quality, everything, it's all built to a very high standard. And so I knew I was going to get into a product that wasn't going to break and it would be looked after very, very well. So again, that's another reason why I ended up buying a GT4. My final fourth point is the residuals. GT car being a GT car, Porsche being Porsche, residuals on this car are very good. I could probably drive this around and put 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 miles on this, and I might be able to sell it for exactly what I paid for it. So it's essentially free motoring. If you're gonna buy a car, because I need a car to drive around day to day to get to work, etc. If I'm going to buy a car, I might as well buy one that has the lowest total cost of ownership out of every car in the world. So this kind of just goes for all Porsches in general anyway. Porsches don't really lose that much money. And so lowest really great residuals, lowest total cost of ownership. The money, the finance on the Emiras were okay. They were a little bit expensive. You had to put, I think, $2.5 grand deposit down first to kind of put your allocation in. Then you needed another $2.5 grand or something like that when you put your spec in. Over the course of putting an order into an Emira, I was looking at putting 10 grand down before my car had even arrived. and then it would be a year before the cars arrive, because the Emira came out last year in July, and we're looking at seeing customers collecting their cars in July of this year. So it would be a whole year with 10 grand out of my bank account, waiting for a car to arrive. And that was something that I just wasn't really comfortable with. It will be a PCP, a model that we've not seen before. We don't know what the residuals are going to be like. So that was, again, something that I was very skeptical stepping into. And I've just gone with the boring, old-fashioned route, the boring, safe option. I've gone with a car that is trial and tested to hold its value very well. So that's my fourth reason of why I've bought this GT4. Final reason, the fifth reason, I think we're on number 5, is the looks. Every single angle of this car looks amazing. The GT4 just looks brilliant. I love, I think my favorite angle is this side profile. Proper race car. It looks really, really good. Every angle of the GT4 looks good, and there were a few angles of the Emira that I wasn't quite sure on. The interior of the Emira wasn't really quite sure on, but with this, I've even got like a fire extinguisher in the interior. There's Alcantara, everything about it. I just love the looks of the GT4 more so than the Emira. So I went with the car that I liked the most, and naturally a lot of owners do. People buy cars because they like the look of some cars. Every car today in the modern world, all of them will drive relatively well. They all relatively sound quite good, and they all drive well, but people will buy cars because they look good. If you like the look of something, you'll buy it. Even though, let's say, I don't know, let's say an Audi R8 versus, I don't know, McLaren 570S, okay? A 570S is a better track car, it's a better driver's car than an Audi R8, as some would say. Rear-wheel drive, etc, etc. But some people prefer the sound, the looks of the Audi R8, the four-wheel drive, and so people go with that over a 570S. So people will choose cars that they like the look of over sometimes the driving experience, because, to be honest, all modern cars drive very well anyway. And so I liked the GT4, the looks of it from every angle, more than the Emira. And how can you blame me for that? So those are kind of my 5 reasons of why I bought the GT4 over the Emira. It sounds like I've been bashing the Emira a little bit from when I've just been doing those clips. I'm not. I'm actually very excited to see what the car is going to look like on the road. I'm looking forward to hearing people's driving experiences and kind of what their opinions are of the car. But for me, and the reasons I've just given, for me, I just wanted a GT4 instead. We've got Jack from Auto ID, who I used to do a lot of collaborations and work with when I had the M2. He's got an Emira coming in blue, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Maybe we can go down to Auto ID and have a little look at the car, get behind the wheel and drive it. I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I think it will be a fantastic car. The reviews look really good. They sound really good. It sounds like an awesome car. You've got 2 engine options, AMG and the Toyota V6. So you've kind of got an engine that accommodates for both owners, both types of owners, whether they want a 4-pot or a V6. I think Emira will be a fantastic car. And like I said, all modern cars today, they all drive well. Just for me personally, and the reasons I just gave, I wanted the GT4. So I hope that kind of clears it up for the people who were wondering why I was doing so many Emira videos and ended up with this. But yeah, thought I'd kind of give you guys my explanation and reasoning. Not that I owe anyone an explanation for the choices of cars I buy. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you like the video, like it. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, the usual, and I'll see you later in the next video.